In this video, I am going to break down Perspective's funnel. Everything that they do to go from clicking on an ad, entering into the entire funnel ecosystem, and then paying them a subscription at the end of a 14-day trial. Now, I'm sure we all know this guy, Niels Clement. We've seen his beautiful face everywhere in our feed. So I thought to myself, what does a prospect actually have to go through to become a client with Perspective? So I did what I always do, and I did a deep dive into the entire funnel ecosystem and documented every stage from the click to the close. And I'm going to break down everything in today's video. So real quick, I'm Mazen. I'm the founder of GoFunnels, and we have built over 2,000 plus backend systems and infrastructures for businesses so we can optimize everything from the click to the close. Let's jump into it. So here we have the customer journey for the Perspective funnel. Now, when I put myself into this funnel as a prospect and did all my research, one thing I realized is they were running 5 different funnels, okay? Now, 4 of those 5 effectively were the same thing. They were an opt-in page. And the other last one, the 5th one, was a live webinar funnel. So all roads at the end of the day, whether you're going from the opt-in or whether you're going through the live webinar funnel, all roads lead to the same place, right? And that was to create an account. So what I want to do now is I'm actually going to quickly go through the customer journey in a high-level overview. Then I will go through each individual node and break down every single stage and the psychology behind every single stage. So let's start by doing a quick overview of the entire journey. So let's start over here. So obviously they are running ads, right? Now the whole point of ads is to get eyeballs. So they're spending about 250K, I believe, in ads right now. And this is per month, okay? So 250K per month. I'm sure it's scaled at the point of this video. This is running people to landing pages, and they have multiple different landing pages. That's why there's a split over here. So there is a split in the landing pages. What I mean by that is when I looked through all their ads and broke down their ad traffic, there is 5 total landing pages that they are sending all their leads to, okay? Now, from those 5, 4 of them, okay, so if we just kind of scroll here, 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, are opt-in pages, okay? And then 1 of them is a webinar page. So that's how they've split it. And we'll go into more detail about what these actual 4 opt-in pages have in common, what they're trying to do there, and then we'll also break down the webinar page itself. But again, we're just going through the overview right now. So with these opt-in pages, again, the idea is to opt in to create an account, okay? With the webinar page, yes, it's a webinar, but again, the idea, the goal with the webinar page is to eventually get people to create an account. So what I mean by that is, regardless of where you are in this kind of journey, all roads lead to creating an account. That is what this is. If you look at all their funnels, so if you look at all their entire marketing activities, from the ad traffic, all the potential call to actions, everything basically just leads to creating an account. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, their strategy is a create an account strategy. That is the entire funnel strategy. That is the entire marketing and ad strategies, create an account, which makes sense, right? At the end of the day, Perspective is basically like it's a glorified form builder, right? That's got funnel capabilities. So of course it's a SaaS product, so they want to get people to create accounts. Now, when they go to the create account, so actually one thing that was interesting is the create account is also a funnel on its own. Okay, so all these funnels, whether it's the opt-in funnel or the webinar funnels, so all these funnels in that funnel. So what do I mean by that, like in terms of visuals, right? It's basically like this. They're getting eyeballs, right? So they're getting eyeballs, that's an eye. And then they're sending those eyeballs to different landing pages. So there's couples of options, right? There's going to be either the opt-in funnel or the webinar funnel. Now, these funnels will redirect them to the same create an account funnel. Okay, so let's call it account funnel. And from this funnel, that is when they will now actually be taken to the registration and the checkout. Okay. Actually, for the checkout, I'll draw a nice little cart. I'll draw a nice little cart, okay, for the checkout. Okay, ka-ching. There we go. So that's what this process basically is as a nutshell, this entire diagram. So once they go to the create account funnel, they're getting you to register your details. They're getting you to put your card information. They're not charging you anything. They're just getting you to put your card information in there so that they can do a card check. By doing a card check, you know, people who put their card details to do a card check, they're obviously very hot leads who are ready to move forward. And then they get you in on a 14-day free trial. And within 14 days, you either convert and become a paying customer, okay? A happy paying customer, or you don't convert and they basically put you through an email nurture and recovery sequence, or like an abandoned cart sequence. And either at that point you just don't upgrade and they'll probably move you to some sort of long-term nurture sequence, or you do end up converting and becoming a happy paid customer, okay? Now, even the paid customers are probably getting some sort of nurture sequences, but I would probably say that these guys are probably entering their own nurture sequence as well, specifically for paid customers, where they get their own kind of email and SMS sequences sent up to them. Now, another really cool thing as well is the people who do pay, so the paid customers, or the people who also engage in these sequences, they actually are collecting that data, and they're probably taking that data and they are pulling out these leads, and they're basically pushing it back into Meta as a lookalike audience. So it's kind of like full on reverse. So they're taking the leads from here and then they're sending it back to Meta as lookalike audience, so that Meta can basically do everything again and send the ads to the people who are more likely to pay, right? So they're feeding the pixel with conversion API. And that's basically the flywheel, okay? Now, that's the overview of everything. Let's go in depth and break it all down. All right, let's start with the ad traffic and what we found there. Click on that. So this is where Perspective's volume machine starts. So we all know Niels Clement, right? He is the head of marketing at Perspective. I know a lot of people probably thought he was the founder, but he's running a lot of ads across Meta. So when I looked at the Meta business page, his account personally is running 94 plus active creatives simultaneously. So a lot of variation, which is very important for the algorithm to test variations that work. But over here you can see his his IG page. Obviously, I'm also trying to see how optimized it is, right? So obviously he has the blue tick, right? He has the followers, he has the pretty face, and Perspective.com. This is credibility, right? They're making 10 million a year. So that's credibility. 1.5 million agency funnel breakdown. So remember this 1.5 million agency funnel breakdown. That 1.5 million will be kind of the theme all across here, because at the end of the day, if we kind of take a step back, what they're doing is they have like a template, okay? And their template is like this viral template that's working, and they're basically selling the template as a way to get people to create an account. Now, you might use the template, you might not use the template, but there are other stuff in Perspective, it's that you can use. So that's what they're trying to do. Now, with Niels, his strategy specifically for his account is the webinar funnel, right? So he's sending people directly to the webinar funnel, where this is on like Instagram. So people who see him on Instagram, they click on his profile, he's sending them directly to the webinar funnel. But obviously the call to action, so the actual ads, they are different. Some webinar, and like I said, 1 out of 5 go to the webinar, and then 4 out of 5 go to the opt-in pages. So yeah, that's just a quick look on the ads on my research over there. All right, let's look at the landing page split. Like I told you, there is 5 common funnels I found. 4 of them are sending to opt-ins. So these are direct outcomes where they are sending the lead directly to a create account page. Now, all 4 of these have different hooks, but they all have a same identical destination. So all roads will lead to the create account, to create an account. For the webinar, it takes a longer path through a qualification form, email capture, confirmation page, but it still arrives at the create an account. Now, one thing just to kind of go in depth with each funnel type, because there was too much to go through, so I wasn't breaking down every single individual opt-in funnel because they all use the same structure anyway. They did differ a little bit in terms of their call to actions though. So very quickly, I'm going to go through the 4 opt-in pages and what the key differences were, and then we'll go in depth into one of them and kind of break down the actual funnel psychology of an opt-in page. So the first opt-in page, this was a template lead magnet. So the hook there was get 160 qualified leads at $3.31 each in 4 days. So that was an opt-in for an agency starter kit, and it had a demo video. So that's more for agencies who basically would want to use Perspective for their clients, and they're basically trying to say you can get 160 qualified leads at a price point of $3.31, and they're basically using that as a pain point, right? Because they know agencies or marketing agencies, one of the most important things they can do is generate qualified bookings and qualified leads at a very low cost per booking or cost per click, right? Or even a cost per acquisition. So they're basically trying to say that you can get 160 leads as low as $3 per lead. So that is the segment that opt-in funnel was for. Now the second funnel was, again, they're going with the agency starter kit, same structure as the one above. They just didn't have any hero section. It was just straight to like an image of like the graphics of an agency starter kit and, you know, test drive Perspective. So again, this is more geared towards the agency owner, the marketing agency who wants to do this for his clients. Funnel 3 was a viral opt-in. So this was, again, going all in on that 1.5 million funnel. Like, this is a viral funnel that Perspective has created that's creating crazy lead generation. You know, give it a try. That was the third one. The fourth one was direct to create an account. So with this opt-in, it's like opt in now and create an account straight away. Again, they use the 1.5 million language in there, saying that this is basically a $1.5 million funnel that will be given to you when you create an account. And then again, they sent straight to the registration. And then finally, the fifth one, which was the webinar, which we'll go through in more detail, that was like a live breakdown of what a 1.5 million funnel looks like. And we'll go through that in more detail. But again, the idea here is they're basically using ads to sell a template. When people show interest in that template, they will then create an account to access said template. And by creating an account, now they're locked in to the Perspective ecosystem and they have a 14-day trial. They're more likely to close on that trial, especially since the card details have been taken already. So I'm sure they have some good conversion rates in that sense. Okay, let's start by breaking down the opt-in page first, then we will go to the webinar page. So for the opt-in pages, like I said, there were 4 of them. I've taken one because they all had the same kind of fundamental structure. So I want to now go through the anatomy of this opt-in and the psychology behind it. All right, so the first thing is the hero section. So funnily enough, well, not funnily enough, based on the data, 100% of the leads or the prospects that land on your funnel will see the section. Less than 50 will scroll past that. So you want to make sure you get this part perfect, right? And it takes up to, if you don't hook them within 3 seconds, they might dip, okay? So they've done this very well. So they've got the actual title here, a quick description, they've got the VSL, and then they've got a call to action, and then they've got some social proof over here. So let's look at it in more detail. So in terms of the actual hook, they've done a good job because they're breaking it down into problem and solution. So this funnel template, so this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a funnel template. Got us 160 qualified leads for $3 in 4 days, okay? So what this does for like a marketing agency or someone who, you know, understands the importance of getting leads at a low cost is it basically tells them they're getting qualified leads for only $3 in 4 days. So for someone who's spending $100 a day plus on ads, this will talk to them directly. In terms of the VSL, this is a very simple VSL. They're just using Wistia embedded into the funnel. It's a play button. It's just a usual VSL with the checkpoints over there. They didn't have any kind of timeline speeding like Hormozi's funnel did, and you know how our funnels do it, which is quite useful, but I guess they want to keep it very raw and real, because if you actually look at the VSL, it's very much like okay, this is how the workflows in the back end looks like. So they're trying to keep it raw and real, which is fine if that's the case. And then they had the call to action over here. Now the call to action is get instant access with a $0, very clearly over there. So again, they're trying to emphasize that you're not paying anything up front. It's a trial. It's $0. They also say in 60 seconds. Again, this is similar to like with what we're talking about with Hormozi's last time. They're trying to do two things, right? They're trying to say, first of all, you're gonna only need 60 seconds to go through this, so it's not gonna take that much of your time. Just quickly do it. The second thing is it's telling them is you're gonna get access to a $1.5 million template, or a template that will get you 160 qualified leads for $3 each in just 60 seconds. So it's like the time to get the value is very short. Like, why are you wasting time? That's what they're trying to do there. And then of course they have the social proof, 4.9 rating from 6,000 customers. That is a very good proof to have over there. So as we scroll down, we have the logo section over here. So these are the clients that they have worked with. As you can see, some big names, which adds more credibility. Then you get a what's included pack. So this is a graphic of what's included for everything to scale your agency past $1 million a year. Very nicely designed. You know, when it's designed like this, it gives you that feeling like you're gonna get, you know, a little starter kit with all these different things. So by visually being able to see it, which is funny because this is an intangible product. It's a digital product, but by doing it like this, it kind of feels tangible because you can see all the different things you're getting access to. And then of course they're giving them like the guarantees, right? So no risk, 14-day free trial, community and mastermind, funnel templates, and paid ads course. So they're actually adding this in here. You're actually going to get course as well as additional templates. And again, no risk, 14-day trial. And then the community and mastermind is good because it says you get access to 7-figure agency owners. So what they're trying to do is basically be like, okay, for $0 up front, right, and that trial, there's actually quite a lot to sink my teeth into. Let me just give this a try and go and see how it is. So as we scroll down, this is kind of like the process section that we like to call it, where it breaks down things like what they're getting, you know, in this case, blazing fast funnels, CRM, automated emails, white label dashboards, all of that good stuff. Okay, this is the testimonial section. Before I do that, one thing you'll notice is there's going to be call to actions scattered all over the place. That is actually good funnel psychology in terms of practice, right? Having call to actions all over the place. It does two things. It makes it easy for someone to go to the next step, because remember, the whole point of a funnel is to funnel your leads to the next step. If you have distractions or not enough of the same button all over the place, you're adding more friction, okay? So the buttons should be everywhere. Right, under that, we have the testimonial section. So they've got the usual client testimonials, as well as screenshots, a lot of screenshots of, you know, different people's experiences, which of course is perfect. So scroll down, again, more call to actions, another graphic of the ads training. So they're trying to say you're going to get a little bit more than just the templates. You're going to get training on how to also run ads to throw leads into that funnel. And then how to get started, you know, watch the video, create a free account, customize the template. And then we have the typical FAQs. And again, you can see the call to actions are listed everywhere. So why do these opt-ins work the way they've designed it? Well, the opt-ins that they've designed, the only job is to make someone giving your contact information, so your email specifically, feel like they're getting something, okay? So it's like, you're not just giving me your email to enter an opt-in, right? It's like you're giving me your email to get access to the templates, the starter kit, the paid ads course, all these different things, right? And it's like $0 upfront. So that's really what you're giving your email for. And as a result, they get you on a free trial, but they can also now re-nurture you in the back end to ensure you do stay and pay up after 14 days and stay with them. Because once they get you to pay for the first month, because the first month is actually where the most churn happens, right? So during that free trial, if they can keep you for that free trial plus the first month, then you're basically like more than 80% likely to keep working with them. Whereas if they can't, then it's going to be less than 50% chance to keep you on. Okay, so once the opt-in is done, then obviously they're going to send you to the create an account funnel. So you give them the details that will redirect you to the create account funnel. Now, before we go to the create account funnel, let's go to the webinar, because that will also then eventually take you to the create account funnel. So let's start with the webinar. So all the funnels or any pages that take you to the webinar, this is the structure of the webinar funnel they're going for. Now, in terms of a webinar funnel, it's pretty good. It's very simple, which most webinars should be, and it's broken down into the main thing. So with webinars, the key, the most important thing really is the hook section again, but it's the video, right? The video is selling the webinar. So this is the VSL, the video sales letter. Again, exclusive masterclass. They have the heading over there, and then join the masterclass. So let's break it down a little bit. So one thing I like about the heading they've used is live breakdown of a 1.5 million agency funnel. So what they're doing is they're being very specific, right? They're not trying to say join this webinar so we can show you how to scale your business. They're saying join this webinar so we can break down a 1.5 million funnel that we can give your agency to copy, paste, and plug and play. So that's a very different ballgame. Right now, as an agency owner, you're joining because you want to know what this 1.5 million funnel is and how you can get access to it. So they've done a really good job in terms of their hook for this title. And then obviously another thing here is you can see they've used 30 registrations out of 100 live seats. They're doing that for scarcity to get more people there, or it could also be that they're using Zoom and they've only paid for the 100 participant limit. That could also be a case. If that's the case, they should need to upgrade their Zoom limits. But I think it's also to do with scarcity. And then also, join the live masterclass. That gives two things. By making it obviously live and exclusive, that means that this is only going to be showing one time, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get more information. It just means that the breakdown in this masterclass will not be shown to anyone else. It's only for the people who do join. So it creates that scarcity, but also that premium exclusivity, right? And also another cool thing is they're calling it a masterclass. They're not calling it a webinar, which is funny because this is a webinar funnel, right? But they're renaming it to a masterclass. Why? Because they want to reframe the mind of the prospect that they're not just coming to get a pitch, right? They're coming to get a full-on lesson, a breakdown, a masterclass on why this template produced 1.5 million for the agency. Okay, then you have like a credibility / testimonial section, but they're starting with meet the speaker, which makes sense. It's a webinar. Who's going to be speaking? It breaks down Neil. And the reason this is good is because it makes him look like an actual operator, not just some head of marketing that's trying to funnel you in. Again, more testimonials, which is great. Again, during the live masterclass, what they'll cover. So this is the process section, breaking down what they're going to cover. And then that's it. So why does the webinar funnel work in terms of, and I wouldn't be surprised if the people who do join the webinar actually are the people that end up paying much quicker and staying much longer. The reason is the webinar landing page, it's not trying to get an account sign up immediately, right? It's a more higher intent commitment. So you have to obviously sign up, get it added to your calendar, and then it pushes you to create an account. But the fact that you wanted to get on that webinar first, that live masterclass, it gives more commitment, it gives more high intent as a prospect. So that tells them that you're someone who's either highly interested or you've been kind of watching for a while and you really want to see what this is. Okay, so from the webinar, once you click, to register for the webinar, it takes you to the second page, which is the qualification form. So they're going to ask you multiple different questions. So it's basically a type form where they break down not a type form, a perspective form, where they break down multiple questions. So one of them is like, what's your revenue? That's broken into 10 to 80K, 80 to 500K, 500K to a million, and a million plus. The reason they've broken it down into these segments is it determines which case studies and results they need to emphasize in the follow-up. By breaking it down into these segments, they can basically hit you with specific content in the follow-up that is relevant to your revenue segment. Okay. The second question is, how many employees do you have? Is it just you, 2 to 10, 10 to 50, or 50 plus? Again, they're segmenting by agency stage, whether you're a solo operator or a team. You will need different messaging, different content sent to you. The third question is, what's your current service offering? So Meta ads, Google ads, funnel building, all these other things. This identifies which use case to lead with in the follow-ups. If you're a funnel builder, you're going to get funnel case studies. If you're an ad buyer, you're going to get lead gen results as the funnel that they hit you with, or the content that they hit you with. The fourth thing is, can you commit to attending live? Yes or no? Now, the interesting thing about this is it's not really a hard gate because both answers will let you proceed to the next stage. It's not going to immediately disqualify you if you press no and submit. The real purpose of this is micro commitment. Okay, so by saying yes, you're now psychologically obligated to attend. And that raises the show rate without any additional follow-up cost. So this is actually very powerful, and you might see it sometimes when you book a call for a operator or for a professional, and on the calendar, they could have a checkbox, which is can you confirm you will make this call? And by just adding that one thing to make them check, it increases the chances of people showing up by more than 60%, which is crazy. Okay. Where can we send the invite? So that's when they ask for your first name on your email. Now, this is where they're actually capturing your data so that they can now obviously add you into their nurture sequences. Now, the reason why they are collecting this data on the form is for two reasons. The first one is obviously they want to send you relevant data, information and content, right? So if you're a business who is doing less revenue, they might target you with different types of content. If you are a solo operator versus a team, they will send you different content. You know, depending on what your service offering is, like Meta ads, Google ads, they're gonna send you different content, things of that nature. But the second reason is they're actually using this to feed their ads engine. What I mean by that is they're collecting data. Okay, so there's probably someone in the back who's analyzing all the data and doing pattern analysis and seeing what the most common answers are, and then they're basically identifying an ICP, and then they're going to take that, turn it into a lookalike audience, and push it into Meta, where they can have a more of the same type of leads seeing the ads and the content. So that's why they're doing it as well. Those are the two most important reasons of any kind of qualification form, is to qualify, but also collect data and use it to improve your ads engine through conversion API, sending information back to the pixel. So that's part of the flywheel I mentioned. Okay, now when you go through the qualification form, then you are taken to the catch funnel. So at this point, a lot of people, will assume that they have to just dip now because they've filled out the webinar, and now that's it. What they're trying to do is a bit different. They're like, no, there's one more step. Now you have to create an account. So what they're essentially doing is, with a typical webinar, it's like you get people to join the stream or the webinar. And then they pitch the offer, and then they're like, okay, if you're interested, why don't you now sign up and get into this offer or this service? What they're doing is a bit different. It's like, okay, you have a webinar coming up, create an account, get your free template, and then on the webinar, we will all together go through that template and break it down for you, so you actually know how you can squeeze as much juice from that template. So they're kind of reversing it around. That's why it's more of a masterclass rather than a webinar. So a very smart tactic they've done there. Now, in terms of the actual psychology of this funnel, again, it's what they've done is that they've added this kind of like step indicator, like, okay, you're not at the end, you're almost completed. This does two things. It makes people be like, oh, it's not done yet, let me finish it. You know, at this point, they've committed all this time, they're going to most likely just go through it anyway. Your registration is almost complete. And then this is obviously the most important thing is this VSL, where he's telling people to create the account and what they're going to get by creating it, and the fact that they're going to go through everything in the webinar. So they're telling them to do the copy and paste template, which is basically create an account for the template. So very simple. The goal here is just to make them press the call to action so they can go to the create account funnel. Now, if people do leave out of this, okay, it doesn't mean they're not going to join the webinar. The webinar registration has already basically happened in the back end. They've already collected your information. So they have segmented you as a lead who opted in for the webinar. So they will, in the back end, send you all the nurture sequences and all the follow-ups to ensure you do actually get the link to that webinar and join the webinar. So that's all happening. Everything at this point now is just pushing you to create an account. Okay. Now, whether you create an account or not, you're still going to get the webinar stuff, but everything moving forward is pushing you to create an account. And now, like I told you in the beginning, all roads lead back to create an account. So let's go into the create account and break down the funnel they've used here. Now, this is the page every prospective funnel will lead to. Whether you came from the template opt-in, the agency starter kit, the viral video unlock, or the webinar registration flow, everyone ends up arriving here. It's the only true gate in the entire ecosystem. Okay, so it's basically like a register funnel where they are getting you to register, put in your card details. They're not going to pay, they're not going to charge you. They're just going to do like a pre-authorization charge, and then you're in for free. Okay, now let's break it down. Now, one thing I noticed about this hook in particular is this hook is actually dynamic. What I mean by that is it changes depending on which funnel you came from, right? So if you came from like funnel 1, you might get this hook. If you came from funnel 2, right, this hook might change. It might be something, completely different, completely dynamic. So that's one cool thing I realized. They're doing that obviously using the UTM parameters. They're collecting the UTM data, and that is what feeds this hook that changes. Okay, so that's one thing. The reason they're doing that is for that personalization, so that everything feels like it's flowing the right way and it makes sense. Now over here, they've broken it down into obviously two sections. They have the payment information section, and then they have one more kind of video. Over here, this is like the final video they have just to push any doubters, anyone to then eventually get the thing where they're trying to say, look, you're going to get a 14-day access, you're getting the mastermind, the proven templates, the plan. So that's just a quick video that's there. And then over here, they're basically getting you to put your card number, the name. This is not necessarily for the system. This is basically for Stripe. But what they're doing here, it's more psychological, right? By doing this and getting, and like they make it obvious that you're going to get a pre-authorization charge. What they're doing is they're really qualifying leads. Like they don't have to do this. This is not something you actually have to do. But by doing it, what you're doing is you're making your leads very high intent, right? Like you're making them, again, do a micro commitment. If they don't mind $5 being charged as a pre-charge, they're not going to mind the $12, $15, $20 that's going to end up coming later down the line. So it's like that extra psychological factor that they're adding, which is very smart. And then they've also done continued PayPal, which is more than just another way of paying. Like obviously people trust PayPal, especially with their buyer protection. So anyone who's like, PayPal's got me covered, they'll use their PayPal anyway. So they're just trying to make it open to multiple types of people, so there's as less friction as possible. Again, the last batch of, testimonial screenshots and reviews are in here as well. And then the last batch of clients that they've helped work, obviously they're throwing in some big names there, DHL, Mercedes, all these different companies. So it gets you very excited, like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. Okay, then when you create an account, they get you to register your details, obviously, and then they go to the card trial, and then you get into the system. So once you register, then now you have an account. Obviously, you're going to play around with your account. You're going to get your template. And then everything happens. So from the point where you create an account to the, once you do that, you're in the ecosystem, you're playing around with perspective, and you're using the templates. And if you signed up for the webinar, you'll go into the webinar, they'll send you the link to join. If you didn't, you went directly through the opt-in and got into create an account, you have access to your templates anyway. Now, regardless of whether you're joining the webinar or not, what will happen in the back end is the nurture sequences, right? So they have multiple nurture sequences going on. And just to kind of quickly go through the timeline of what those nurture sequences is, when you register or opt in, or at the point they collect your email throughout this process, on day one, you will get the abandonment recovery. So if you didn't complete the sign up, they will try to recover and get you to complete it with like an abandoned cart or like a forgot to finish create an account email. On day two will be the full product reveal. So it kind of breaks down exactly what's waiting inside your account. So they have like 29 proven templates, very quick load times, email sequences, just different data and case studies they kind of throw all at you to show exactly what the full prospective product is. On day three, they give you the credit card objection handling. Again, keep in mind, people who get this email, this is in that 14-day trial that they are they're in. So they're trying to hit you these sequences to try and push you over the gate and be like, I'm just gonna let them charge the card at the end of the 14 days. And then on the fourth day, you're going to get community wins and social proof. So they're going to send you like high impact screenshots of community members, like different, case studies and real kind of community proof. So that's very quickly what their kind of email sequences look like. And then at that point, the trial will elapse and you're either a paying customer and they got you, or you didn't believe in it enough, or you didn't find the value and you decided not to go the paid route. That's basically the perspective funnel ecosystem broken down from the ads to the purchase, or how I like to call it, from the click to the close. Okay. So I guess a big or interesting question to ask is, why 5 funnels, right? Why have they had 5 different funnels, all lead to the same path, but why 5? Because they're not running 5 campaigns, they're running one system with 5 front doors. Okay, so if you were kind of go through these 5 key points I have here, one of the reasons is the traffic arbitrage there, right? So the 5 landing page variants aren't a sign of an unfocused strategy. They are a systematic search for the most cost-efficient entry point. So they're spending $250K a month. They want to A/B test as much as they can to see where they need to actually put their money into to make the most sense to keep scaling the ads. The second point is the convergence architecture, right? Every path leads to create account. The hook changes depending on which type of funnel they came into. That means how they've done it is like they have the top of funnel and then the middle of funnel. The middle of the funnel is like the create account. The top of funnel is these 5 funnels. They basically are able to test and change the variations in the top of the funnel without having to always go back and change the create account funnel or the middle of funnel. So for number 3, the trial as the real funnel. So the 14-day trial with the card requirement isn't actually the end of the acquisition funnel. It's the beginning of the product funnel. So their bet is as soon as someone creates an account, they've basically got them because they've gotten enough value in there to want them to keep going, especially if it's an agency who's going to use it for their clients to bring their cost per lead down. It's a no-brainer. So the whole system here is just get as much eyeballs as you can to create an account and then hope you can keep them in there. That's the volume. That's like the volume strategy they're going for. Now, the webinar is really just a safety net because like I mentioned, 4 out of 5 are just direct to create accounts. So they do have the one webinar that's kind of like a safety net because most prospects probably won't convert within those 14 days. What they're probably trialing is how many, what is the percentage of prospects that do convert if they did go through a webinar first. And if that number is significantly high, I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the future they change the strategy where they're doing more webinars than just directly to the create an account funnel. And then finally, the face as the infrastructure. What do we mean by that? Niels Clement, obviously good looking guy, got nice hair. His face being across everything to do with perspective isn't just branding, it's a conversion mechanism, right? You see his face on his Instagram, you see it on the ads, you see it on literally every single stage of this funnel ecosystem. And then you see it on the live webinar as well. It's just building that level of trust. So when you do, jump on that live masterclass, it feels like you know who he is. It's like a friend, right? So it just makes you want to convert much more easily. So if we were to look at the perspectives flywheel, they're really doing, it's very much a volume machine, right? So it starts with the paid traffic that sends people to one of the 5 entry hooks, which gets them to create an account. By creating an account, they can experience the product. By experiencing the product, they will pay, and by paying, they can obviously fund the paid traffic. But also by creating an account, they're collecting data, which also helps with the paid traffic because they are sending lookalike data back to Meta, which again keeps the wheel spinning. And there you go. So that is the full breakdown of the perspective funnel. Now, if you want all the resources and this entire breakdown that I went through in this video, go ahead and click the link down below and it will take you to the full flow breakdown where you will be able to see everything, click on the little nodes and expand and kind of go even more in depth than what I did on this video. And the best part is it's completely free. You don't even need to give me your name or your email. It's completely free. All I ask is you share it with people who you know will need it. All right, I will see you in the next breakdown video.